Get in line for the dopest girl show. The essence will be holding us down. Get in line, women running the world. Wednesday 6:30, let's have a good time. Get in line, free your mind. Let the music help you celebrate life. Get set, get in line, keep it real. Get empowered and inspired.
My song is so catchy. You guys need to get in line. I love it. That's Mariah Sky singing that for me as my intro. Welcome to the DS show. Hola, mi gente. Happy Get in Line Wednesday. Today we have such a productive show. I have two gentlemen sharing the stage with me, or what should I say, the set with me, that are so empowering. I've been following them for quite some time, and I've gotten a lot of jewels from them in separate, same industry, but just different areas. So I want to bring them on, of course, because they accepted my invitation. And I've grown to love them both. But first, I want to start off with a writer, writer. I had to get in order because he gave me a specific order. Writer, actor, director of She Hates Coffee, and just in general, he writes and he directs. He's also the CEO of C-Spa by Carol Castillo. He's a managing director for Dominican Soul Productions. And he has a play that's taking place right now. In fact, about to go on a 20-city tour. And he has a new debut showing out about a female who was married for 20 years going through a divorce process, which is very interesting. I can't wait to see the inside of that. I have Mr. A.R. Garcia here with me.
Hey, girl.
Welcome to the DS show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's been some time that we've been kind of planning back and forth.
It has, yeah.
And I said, let me get him in because I didn't get you in for the She Hates Coffee, but I can get him in for the next one.
Yeah.
Right? You got a lot going on lately.
I do. You gotta stay busy.
That seems to be like the saying in this industry. You gotta stay busy,
You gotta
stay
busy.
productive.
You gotta stay busy, you gotta stay working.
So what's up? What are we working on?
Well, we're...
A lot going on.
Yeah. We are taking off with She Hates Coffee, and we're getting ready to go to Atlanta.
Woo! ATL.
ATL. We're at the same time, I am debuting a new show called My Time, which, as you said, is about a woman that's going through a divorce after a 20-year marriage.
Oh.
And it's
That
kind
sounds
of...
very emotional.
It is. And it's just, it kind of highlights what this woman goes through and how she deals with the 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
I am also doing something a little bit out of the norm for us Latinos. I am producing a show, and actually nobody knows this yet. So you're the first one that I tell publicly. So my production company is actually, hopefully starting in May, we are going to be putting on a cabaret show.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're partnering up with a staple of Harlem, an old and very fancy jazz club.
Ooh, that's sexy, AR.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
gonna be like a type? Is it gonna be a sexy cabaret?
Yeah, it's gonna be for grown-ups, Friday night, 11 p.m.
I love it.
It's called Hedonism at Minton's Playhouse.
Oh wow.
AR's Hedonism at Minton's Playhouse. So it's
Okay.
music and cabaret with a little bit of burlesque.
Oh, I love burlesque. You know, if I had the guts and probably, I don't know, maybe the body form, I would definitely be a burlesque dancer.
You can do it.
I love burlesque. It's one of the sexiest things ever.
Yeah. So
Ooh, I can't wait for this.
we're also about to produce and put back out my show, The Broken Bachelor. So we're doing a lot.
So I noticed that a lot of your plays surround like marriage, relationships. And I think it's important that we do that because we're always involved and interested in relationships, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't want to be in relationships at the same time. Why? What is that? Is that because it does catch the attention of the community? You know, the communities, the public.
I think it's a huge part of the human condition. You know, part of the human condition is not to want to be alone, and so when you think about it, everybody's in some type of relationship.
Right.
You're either in a marriage or you're in a full-fledged commitment, or you're dating somebody, or you're checking somebody out, or there's always something, and people are always searching for love and not to be alone. And so it's a huge part of the way we're hardwired. And being Latino, I mean, that's what they tell you. Like, little girls, they tienen que casar, they start prepping you early.
It's true. It's true.
And the men too. You gotta be a man, you gotta be able to take care of your family. What does that mean at 7? I don't know, but that's what they tell you.
Right,
So,
we're conditioned to live a certain way. Meanwhile, that doesn't really bring happiness. You got to be happy with
Right.
yourself first,
right,
before learning how to cook for a man and get married and then have a baby.
right. So I just always considered myself a storyteller of love and what that entails. And sometimes pain is synonymous with love. So
It comes, right? The good and the bad. And a lot of people are scared to love because of getting hurt.
Right.
What do you say about that?
you can't have one without the other. It's like salt and pepper.
So that's why a lot of people choose not to be in love, because they rather just not deal with the pain.
I don't think you can choose not to be in love. I think you can choose not
I agree with that.
I think you can choose not to deal with wanting to be in love with a specific person.
Right.
But I don't think you get to choose that. I mean, it's part of who you are. You get feelings for someone. You don't really get to stop that. And they're usually there before
Yeah.
you even realize it. You're
Yeah.
like, damn, I like this girl. So
And the body naturally needs love. Your skin needs to be touched. We go through a season that, our body craves that type of attention.
I mean, there's studies shown that children, when they're born, if they're not nurtured by their mother, if they don't have human contact, if they don't have the affection, I mean, these children, they come out differently. They're raised differently.
Right.
If people are not nurtured, they're hardened. And so it's just a natural thing about life.
Tell me a little bit about your upbringing. Where are we from?
My parents are Dominican, which makes me Dominican. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and my mother, for as long as I've been alive, has been the strongest person. The hell with
Big
man
up
or
to
woman.
mommies.
Yeah, she's been the strongest female that I've ever known, and for as long as I can remember, she's been a business owner. And my dad and my mom were together right up until I was about 19, 20. And my mom's experience and watching her go through that pain of breaking up with my father was what prompted me to write my new play, My Time. It was actually something that she said to me. I heard my mom, and I kind of go through this in the play, I heard my mother cry every night.
Yeah, it's a mourning process.
She was mourning, and
Yes.
I remember going into her room one day, and I asked her, just very simply, I could tell that she was crying, and I said, do you regret any of it? And she kind of looked back at me very soft, and she said, no, I just wish he hadn't wasted my time.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow.
that was the first lesson that I remember getting from a woman when it came to pain and suffering and heartbreak. And at that moment, I didn't realize how powerful that was. But later on, I realized that she didn't regret being married or having kids or
Right.
none of that. What she regretted was that she couldn't get all of that time
Back.
with someone that she could have probably did it better with.
Yeah.
And
A lot of us go through that, so.
right, and she gave me a lesson in relationships with that, and with time, and how to not waste your time with someone that wasn't worth it.
Right, right.
And
That had to be, I mean, depending on how it was presented and dealt with at home, but that kind of had to be heartbreaking to be 19, 20 years old and to go through all that with your parents, teenage, childhood.
Yeah, it was jarring
Yeah.
because we're Dominicans, so our family's huge. Like my parents were like the picture perfect. They were the Dominican grower in Cleveland. You know, like they were
Right.
just they were perfect, and then just one
Right.
day it wasn't perfect anymore.
Right,
And you don't, you know, I've been a mama's boy for as long as I hated my father at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until years later I sat down with him, and he was very respectful about
you
my mom,
understand it
and
now.
I understood that there was two sides to every story, and that my mom also had some accountability she needed to deal with.
You know, it's everybody involved. Ain't
Everybody
nobody
involved.
perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
You know.
But it taught me about how women grieve and how they mourn and how resilient and empowering they could be to themselves.
Yeah.
Because I thought she would never get through that.
And this is what that play is about.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of writing it from a man's point of view?
I did. She hates coffee.
Perfect. You see? Bit of She Hates Coffee. I have a little clip from there just to give you guys an idea of what the play is about, because She Hates Coffee, the title does no justice.
No justice.
For exactly what the play is about. We'll be right back on the Diaz Show just in a few seconds.
Aren't you tired?
Tired of what?
Tired of being alone, bro.
I'm never alone, bro. You know how I get down?
That's not what he means. He means alone. Because she has to leave. Aren't you tired of it being the same thing over and over again?
Hell no. And you know what? Do me a favor. When you talk to me, leave your vagina at home. Okay?
We're back. Leave the vagina home. What did you say to me on break?
I said that was one of my favorite lines because it highlights how men really speak about certain things, because they were at that moment they were having a really in-depth conversation and a debate about being a player versus now being transformative and being a man that's looking for something more substantial and
Right.
changing and wanting to be a better man. And, you know, when you're talking to a group of guys, there's always that one guy's like, this conversation is getting a little too
Yeah.
emotional, but that's what the play's about these men being open and honest and just highlighting a different perspective and breaking down the stereotypes that men don't actually talk about their feelings and that they actually don't feel and that they actually don't go through pain and what that process is like.
And that's because of basically how we were raised.
It has a lot to do with how we were raised, especially as Latinos. I mean, when you're a little kid, they tell you, you know, you get hurt, no llore, don't cry. And you're
yeah.
like 2 years old, and I hurt
No,
myself.
you
like,
should cry.
You should be able to cry and express your feelings. And that's kind of like the narrative that's pushed, that you're not a man if you show some type of emotional weakness. And so, you know, instead of guiding your son to be like, okay, you don't need to cry about this, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
but that's not what we get. What we get is just don't show any emotional weakness, and we carry that as adults.
And
then
that leads into mental health,
well,
right? And baggage, emotional baggage.
it's a lot of emotional baggage, but what it does is it hinders us to then deal with these women because we're conditioned not to open up. And then you're conditioned to want a strong man and not a man that's overly sensitive and
Yeah.
you know. And so there's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect, but I also feel like because you're being that way, that you are emotionally damaged. Because you're being
Right.
repressed. You're not
Right. Well, you are, and it takes just evolution for us to know that. You know, my father was like that. You know, don't cry. You know, now I'm a father, and I don't do that to my sons. I might tell my son, don't cry about that.
handsome son, by the way. Kind of posted up a picture. I was like, oh, well, hello there.
Yeah, he's a good-looking kid.
No, I love that you're very transparent, and as manly as you are, there is an emotional side that you are able to teach your children that there's nothing wrong with it. We are human beings. We are having emotions.
And like I said, it's part of the human condition.
Right,
You know,
right.
I was doing another interview, and somebody said to me, it's so great that you're in tune with your feminine side. And I said, that's the problem. Because why do I have to be effeminate in order to show emotion?
Right.
So why can't I just be a man that's in tune with how I feel?
They do say
about
that,
X,
like,
Y,
every
Z?
man
Right.
has a feminine side, but why does
So
it have
why?
to be labeled as
Why-
feminine?
Why do I have to have a feminine side? Why do you have to have a manly side? Why can't you just be strong and empowered
Right.
and be a whole woman about your business and not
Definitely.
have to be compared to a
Right.
man? And that's how I feel about being able to be in touch with my feelings and how I express myself. And I find, in my age now that it makes you a better communicator and people see exactly where you stand. And then when you start to realize those things, you're like, damn, why didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah.
Because you start to tell, because it's really telling the truth about who you are and how you feel.
Yeah.
And there should be no shame in that. And I shouldn't have to feel like I'm being effeminate because I'm doing it.
Right.
I told you how I felt, you do it,
Right.
and there's no apology for it.
Right.
And so with the play, I just want to be able to send that message, that we're able to express our feelings and our emotions without any judgment.
It was a sold out event.
It
I was hearing about it all over the place. You did. First of all, we met like 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before.
Brooklyn, yeah.
And unfortunately, I wanted to assist and I had to work.
Yeah.
But I was watching the whole process and I was letting people know about it too.
Yeah,
and it
sure.
seems to be a huge success in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're now bringing it to 18 more states after
18 more
Atlanta?
cities, yeah.
Like Miami and
We're-
LA and
Yeah, we're going, California, we're going to do 4 cities.
wow. You must be feeling very excited about that.
I'm tired.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, but I'm ecstatic.
This is your
because
time.
This was and this is an actual dream come true, this play.
This is your time. Do you ever think would you make a movie out of it?
Yeah,
Being that you do write and direct?
yeah, I would love to make it a series.
Oh, I like that. I would definitely tune into
It
that.
has way too many layers to just be a movie.
Yeah, when it comes to like emotions, relationships, and stuff like that, there are plenty of layers, and you can go so far with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to see that. What's going on with the Dominican Soul Productions?
Well, my production company produces all of these plays.
Okay.
So it was just my way of wanting to push people of color forward. The only way we're going to get
Anywhere?
anywhere, either on that stage in principal roles with people that look like us.
Yeah.
I make it a point in my plays for my characters not to be the guy from the bodega or the drug dealer on the corner. All of my characters are upstanding Latinos. They got
Good.
good businesses.
Good, so you're not
You know, I'm not
typecasting.
typecasting
Good for
nobody
you.
because I'm not that guy.
Right, and we talked about that behind the scenes when we first met. That they stage us to be a certain way,
Yeah.
but there's so many of us that are really doing professional things.
Yeah, I mean, I can't relate to those things.
Me either.
because
I didn't grow up in that.
I didn't grow up, in that element. I never sold drugs. I went to college. I know educated, successful Latinos. And I don't understand why we can't be portrayed that way. And I get it now. We can't be portrayed that way because there isn't enough of us portraying us that way. So that's what Dominican Soul Productions is about. It's about portraying people of color in their element. And it's not to say that that other side isn't a reality as well.
It is a reality, but it's not everybody's
But
reality.
it's not everyone's reality, and it's not it's not the majority. So with my production company, I just want to be able to put us in positions where we move forward. That's the real dream.
And we need more of that. So I appreciate you doing that. That's a huge movement. What's going on with the and we also have Amazon. We have St. Nicholas
Yeah.
that you can tune in and watch, right? Especially if you're Amazon Prime.
Yeah, my film St. Nicholas is on Amazon Prime. That was actually my first play off Broadway. I was in a theater festival, the same festival that I'm in now for my time, and I actually won that festival in 2013. And then I wanted to take it from being a one-man show to a full ensemble. At that reading, there was a producer, and he loved the script, and he said, "Hey, can we meet for coffee?" 2 days later,
coffee.
yeah, right. And he sat down and he was like, "Would you like to make this a movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, who's gonna pay for it?" I am.
Wow, that's huge.
And just like that.
You need most of the time, you just need that one person to invest.
Yeah.
And then you just take over and go sky high with that.
And 2 years later, he calls me up because we got a distribution deal, and
Oh, that's wow.
it was such a blessing.
Yeah.
Because we were gearing up to like do the festivals and the theater festivals, because that's what you do.
Right.
And in hopes that you get onto a platform, and we kind of just
Boom.
yeah.
Right into
So it was such an amazing blessing, and to go on Amazon and see a movie that you wrote. I'm also in the film. I play the bad guy. They typecasted me. I typecasted me in my own play, in my own film.
I was looking at you like, what happened there?
Yeah, but still, the Latinos were. It's a show about. It's a movie about a lawyer, and he has real problems. He has real issues, but you needed the antagonist. So.
There's always room for that. So we do acting, directing, writing, and radio,
I did radio.
which is something else we had in common. I have a thing for voices, and I loved his voice. I was like, oh my God, your voice is perfect for radio. Oh, I actually did one. I had a podcast. So you basically done it all.
A little bit
In
of
the
everything.
arts.
I did radio for about a year. I actually had to give it up because I was going off Broadway, and that it was too much. I mean, as you can see, there's so much that goes into a show.
Yeah.
And
Just an hour show. Can you imagine?
Yeah. my radio show was 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And it was about relationships from a male's perspective. It was four of us.
Radio's a little easier. There's less logistics to it, I think.
Yeah. But we were pretty successful, and it just took a lot of research and it was like having another job.
Yeah. Well, because you have a show that had content. It wasn't just to entertain, but it had content.
Right.
Yeah.
We weren't just like highlighting music videos and
Right.
music like it was topics every week, and as you know, that can be so difficult.
Right. So what do you prefer doing the most?
Writing.
Sorry. Behind the scenes got me crazy back here. So you enjoy the writing process?
I'm a writer first.
Writer first.
So it's the hardest, it's the darkest, but
Yeah.
it's where my heart lies. So I'm
It's a process for you to write?
It's to create. It's a pretty intense. I'm one of those writers that like completely secludes himself. You won't hear from me for a couple of days.
Oh wow! So you go into like hibernation.
I lock myself in a room. I don't want to be spoken to. I turn the phone off.
Yeah. People around you understand that?
Yeah. They don't bother me at all.
How's your personal life going?
All right, girl, we ain't getting into all of that now.
Everything's good though?
I'm good.
Everything's falling into place because you're a busy man now. So, things,
I'm in a great space. I can't complain.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So give us the dates on the upcoming play and where that would be airing. Well, not airing, where you'll be having it, yeah.
My time comes out April 24th, April 26th, and April 27th. That's a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's part of the One Festival at Teatro Latea, 107 Suffolk Street.
Oh, nice.
The One Festival is the longest solo performing arts festival in New York City. And it's founded and ran by Latinos. A Latina by the name of Veronica Caicedo.
Okay. And you're expecting a big turnout for that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic. A lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah. A lot of divorce rates are up.
The divorce rates are up, and it's a very emotional roller coaster, whether it's ended in good or bad. Yeah. The worse it is, the harder it is. But even ending something on a mutual term can be very heartbreaking. Yeah. And it definitely is a process for men and for women. Yeah. A lot of men just keep moving.
That's the problem.
And kind of ignore the emotional. I mean, they have to be going through something.
That's the problem.
Do you have any insight on what they actually go through? Can you put the men on blast for us females?
I think the difference between men and women, when it comes to that, and this is what my time is about. It shows a woman's courage. I think men are very cowardice when it comes to pain, so we elect to keep it moving. We elect to keep
not
running
really
and
deal.
not deal with it.
Right.
We tend to carry more baggage onto the next relationship than women do.
Does that get the men anywhere? Really?
It doesn't get anybody anywhere.
Okay.
You know, but that's what the play's about. There's this woman facing her pain and going through it in order to come out, you know, a different person. And as men, we're taught not to do that. We're just taught to, you know,
Yeah.
get what's
Go
better.
on to the next.
Go on to the next. What's better than now? The next. You know.
Right.
And so you never heal.
Yeah.
You never heal, and you keep carrying
Yeah.
those.
They say you keep carrying souls, you know, but you never really find your soul. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
It does.
you just keep carrying souls. You're not really
Well,
facing.
you keep putting more and more and more in, and
Yeah.
the more you put in, the less you see your own.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you so much, AR, for coming through finally. You know, we've
Thank
been
you.
talking a lot, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Like I said, keep doing the thing. I look forward to this new play.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of people can relate. Let the viewers know where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at I am AR Garcia.
Yes, and you have videos on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah. Dominican Soul Productions. You can see videos on She Hates Coffee. You could also go to on Instagram to She Hates Coffee at She Hates Coffee, and there's videos and pictures, and it's amazing. Or SheHatesCoffee.com.
And really quickly, why is it called She Hates Coffee when it has nothing to do with coffee?
You gotta come to the show and see that for yourself.
Come on!
You gotta come to the show.
That's your teaser, right?
Yeah. All I can tell you is that he owns a coffee shop,
Okay.
and the whole play takes place in the coffee shop.
All right. Thank you so much, AR Garcia.
Thank you,
It's
honey,
always
for
a
having me.
pleasure. Yes.
Thank you.
We'll be right back, right here on the D. Essence Show.
All right. So there's Michael B. Jordan, Omari Hardwick, Colin Kaepernick. I mean, he ain't that fine, but girl, when he gets on his knees,
Wait a minute, that's the same thing you said about Maurice.
That
when
is
you met
not
him.
what I said.
Yes, that's what you
That
said.
is not what I
Yes,
said.
that's what you said. Yeah, then what'd you say?
what I said was that I want to put my finger.
Come here, you dirty little whore. ¡Venga acá, buena fresca! ¿Cómo te atreves a herir mi único hijo?
Might be right.
Please do not tell him that he's right,
Whatever.
because it's gonna get all up in his head. Ay, mamita, he looks like he tastes like unicorn tears.
You're so crazy. Come on, let's go. We gotta
And we're back here on the Diaz's Show. You just saw A.R. Garcia, writer, director, and actor, who's a pleasure to meet and know and see his plays. He's repping for the Latinos. But on the other hand, now I have a great guest with me who has so much going on. I like, the inner me kind of like envies him because he's like the epiphany of what a person should be in this industry. We met this past summer at 103.9 for a short interview that he had there, and I felt that it was too small of an interview to not have him here on my show. We have been following each other and talking for quite a while.
A good minute now.
It's been almost a year, almost.
Probably. No, I think we're right at the year mark, or might be a little over. I think we might be a little over the year.
Yeah, because he walked into 103, and I was like, oh my God, Joe, what are you doing here? Diasis, what are you doing here? And it was great. It was great. I was like, I definitely have to have him in my space. I'm just going to run down a list real quick. TV personality, A&R executive, motivational speaker, and author of this amazing book. You have Motivate You podcast. You started off as a singer, I believe. I think we'll get to that in a little bit. You worked with a couple of major label, as an executive, a life coach, producer. But I want to say that I know you mostly from This Is 50. And if you guys follow him on Instagram, he has interviewed numerous people. Devon Franklin, Vivian Green, Dr. Drew. I mean, the list goes on. So it's a pleasure having you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You were given your own day in 2008
Oh, yes.
in Hartford, Connecticut,
Yes.
which is given to you by the mayor.
Yes.
We'll talk because you're just coming back from Connecticut today. It's been a
Yes.
very long day. I want to introduce the amazing June Archer.
Thank you for
I
having me.
love it.
No, I appreciate you just allowing me in your space. This is amazing.
I love it. I think it's so distinguished. You always look nice, whether
Thank you.
repping for not the hood, but if you repping just like chilling or in a suit. I know you through the bow ties. There's always
Yes.
a bow tie on.
I had one on today.
I was looking for like, where's the bow tie?
I had it on today, and I was at an interview at NBC Television promoting my 100 Women of Color event.
Look at
And
this.
one of the guys on the TV show complimented me on the bow tie. Says, I really got to start wearing my bow ties. And I was like, you like this one? He was like, I love that tie that you're wearing. And I took it off.
Did you?
As I often do, when people compliment me about it. I have a great sponsor in terms of brand partnership with the bow tie. So I get them, so it's nothing to not be able to gift it when somebody gifts it to you. So if someone's going to be a blessing to you, I feel like it's always important to be a blessing to others. So it's
And you wear them so well. How many
Thank
do
you.
you have?
more than enough, so that's why I could be a blessing to other people.
I think
So-
more men should dress like this and put a bow tie or a tie on. It just,
No,
it's just so elegant, It
it's-
just kind of gives you class. And then you can rock the Timbs and the cap later.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because he does
that's
that
natural.
too.
Yeah, that's natural.
And you look good with that too.
I do my very best to make sure I look sharp, and not just because it makes me feel good, but also young people, especially young people of color, when they see you, they say, all right, if he could be fly and do a fly, I want to do that. And I realized that it was such a big thing when I went to the juvenile detention centers. And one particular incident, this young man came up to me, and unbeknownst to me, I see security walking behind him as he's approaching me, and I'm all right. Let me just get a sense of what's going on here.
Right.
He approaches me, and he says, "Mister, I want to wear a suit. I want to wear a suit like that."
I love it.
And I said, well, I don't understand what the issue is. And I knew what the answer was before he said it.
Right.
Well, I'm in here.
Right.
I said, okay, cool.
That's not the suit I want to
but
wear.
this is temporary.
Right.
But now you have a goal in mind. If you want to wear this suit, then the idea and the behavior is to get out of here and find yourself in a position where you can get a suit. And you have to leave this behind you. And I realized that it wasn't just to feel good and to show people, but just inspire young people like that young man and let him know, like, listen, you can still be cool. You can still sit at the cool table and look fly. And your sock ministry's on point. So
love it.
the bow tie. So it's to inspire and motivate as many people as possible. And I'm very, very passionate about that.
And they also say the way you dress is, what is it? The way you dress calls for different attention,
Yes.
or the way you dress, people would treat you differently.
Right. It's your calling card as well.
Yeah.
So
You just have so much. I don't even know where to start. Can we start a little bit in the beginning of June Archer? First of all, I love your name. That is also the month of my birthday.
oh, all right. So we're gonna celebrate.
But give us a little insight to just your upbringing.
Well, I come from a really small town in Connecticut, Windsor, which is outside the capital city of Hartford, Connecticut. And I was born in Hartford, raised in Windsor, and it was the suburbs. My parents migrated from the West Indies. They're Jamaican, and they came over here for a better life and a better way. And
So I
with
agree.
that, we came out and lived in the suburbs, and it was interesting times. And just as of recent, I've been sharing that I remember leaving the city of Hartford and going to Windsor, and while we moved in, someone spray painted the N-word on the side of the house a couple of times in gray spray paint. The house was brown, and it didn't affect me. And as we have the debates today about the use of the N-word and not using as opposed to using as a term of endearment, my parents didn't flinch. So for me, it was, all right, there's no power in this word. If my dad didn't flinch, my mother didn't flinch, then there's really no power in this word. So, and I've been victim to using it myself, but I sometimes take the stand as the Jay-Z's of the world take the stand. Like, it's a term of endearment. It's kind of what we take the power out of it by embracing it in such a fashion. I think when you give power to something that seems to be or deemed negative, it will bind you every time. So growing up there, great education system, great friends. To this day, I still have the same friends that I had in elementary school.
That's a beautiful thing.
You know, so Windsor was a great time. It was a time where there wasn't so much racial tension. It was more the generation before our parents. And so you had to kind of figure it out. But we grew up in a time where it was pretty amazing. And what's sad is in this day and age, I find as social media has kind of taken over some of our lives, that we're now starting to question people that we grew up with based on their affiliation with being either Republican or Democrat, whether they're race. So it's interesting
tell me
times, but
about it, June.
but back then it was an amazing time to grow up and learn, and we all went through puberty together. We grew up together. Some of us had the same girlfriends, but like it was just a great time, right? And nothing crazy, just we had a great time. So Windsor was just a proverbial, you know, cul-de-sac living. It was awesome. I can't front.
So when did you leave Connecticut, and did you ever leave Connecticut?
I left Connecticut in 94, 95, in pursuit of getting a recording deal. And in doing so, got the record deal, moved to New Jersey. We came out in 1997, had 3 songs that were on the charts. We did well, traveled, opened up for certain artists, headline.
Was it
concerts.
R&B?
It was R&B. The name of the group was Room Service.
Oh.
So yeah, no, we
Ow.
whatever you want, the way you want it, when you want it.
Oh.
That was the slogan.
I already feel
so
that.
yeah, so it was back then that I moved from Connecticut and just got a affinity for the city. And we were just in Jersey for a while we were recording the album and it came out. And then, as any classic VH1 story, too much, too fast, too soon.
Yep.
Group disbanded. I moved back to Connecticut for a little bit and then, fell in love, came back to New York, and I've been here ever since.
So how did the whole executive start, TV personality?
Well, seeing as though
Producer.
as soon as the dream was deferred, or I should say was pulled out from my group and I, for me, I had mentors like Michael Bivins was a mentor, Dougie Fresh was a mentor, Hank and Keith Shockler. There's so many. Sylvia Rome, for those who are familiar with music industry executives. And it was there that I realized that you don't just have one dream, right? When you have one dream, you put that aside, you master it as best you can, and you go on to the next thing. So for me, it was, how do I make the transition from artist to executive and still have an impact? So when I went back to Connecticut, I went to a music seminar out in Puerto Rico, went there and just started networking. That's what I was taught as a mentee. Like, you network, you rub elbows, shake hands, kiss babies.
Yes, that's the number one rule.
Number one rule.
Number one rule.
So when I got back, I was offered a position to actually run a independent label on Elektra. And thus it started. And I started working with artists and just asking questions like, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I work with this person? Figuring out the whole A&R lane. And my first projects went gold and platinum. Mario, Amarion, Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent, American Gangster with Jay-Z. Worked on a song with one of my writers, Charmel Cofield, who did the only song in the Pink Panther movie that Beyonce sings. The Hitch movie soundtrack. Did Tyrese. The list goes on and on. Tierra Marie, Exhibit.
Wow.
So there's so many. But then I just had a love for it. And then in 2010, the music started to change.
Yeah.
The music started to sound different. And I said, all right, what is the next dream? Right? Because I accomplished a lot of things that I didn't with my group, but it's got to be something else, because prior to this group, I wanted to be Michael Jackson. We wanted to be New Edition, right? So we saw that. We were on Billboard charts.
Have you told Bevins that?
Oh, he knows that. He knows that. And, just seeing ourselves in Right On Magazine, Black Beat, Vibe Magazine at the time, it was a dream come true. Hearing your record on the radio, seeing your video on BET and MTV, VH1, Music Box. So got to the point of 2010, and I'm like, all right, what's next? And I just started seeing negative things on, social media, and I started putting out positive images every day. I was like, every day I want to give somebody a positive word, something that'll get them through the day, something that'll get them through hard times. And then one day someone was like, do you mind if I print this and put it on my refrigerator? Somebody else says, inbox me, do you mind if I give this to my son so he can be inspired? And thus spawned the book, Yes, Every Day Can Be a Good Day.
Yeah, they're very empowering. I actually look at them too. There was one that you put up, I'm gonna have to go back to it, but it was something like maybe like you may be holding back from something that you want to do, but something with fear.
Oh yeah, fear is a big piece of what.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah,
but
there's a fear of success and there's fear of failure. So
Yeah.
you got to figure out what side you're gonna be on, but you have to overcome either one.
There
of them,
you go.
No matter where you are. So
Thank gosh
Yes.
for that,
Yeah.
because today I looked at that and it renaissance with me with a challenge that I've been dealing with for a certain position. It has to do a lot with memorization. It's been a challenge for me.
well then
And fear has gotten in the way that I've turned to myself a couple of times saying, why am I doing this? I should just give up. Who cares?
Right.
I don't need this stress.
Right.
But there's something that's like, no, you go as far as you can get.
and you let the rest happen because
And you
you
let the
continue
rest
to let fear
happen.
seep in. That's where you block your blessings.
Right. And a lot of that is going on. In
All right,
this,
so we're gonna fix that. We are.
well, not
going
with
to
me
fix that.
so much because I'm a risk taker.
Oh, well,
Fear is a lie.
Oh, the fear is
know
a
what I
lie.
mean?
The devil's a lie.
Yeah.
And as soon as you figure that out, you are on your way.
Yeah, but a lot of that is going on. A lot of people are staying in the same positions due to fear.
Get you fair, yeah.
You know, when I met you at the radio station, I had just left my job that I
I
worked
think you.
for 10
I think you
years.
told me that.
And I asked you before that, what was your kind of outlook on how to, you know, I
Overcome
quit.
those things. Yeah,
I
no.
quit. And you
Sometimes
told
you just
me,
have to
just
jump.
go with it.
Just jump. What's the worst that can happen? You fall. It's cool. You get up and now you know what to do and what not to do.
Right, right. So this is the book of Yes.
That is the book.
And
of
these are
Yes.
motivational quotes from you?
Motivational quotes from me. Things that I've experienced myself. Things that I truly believe in. Things that I've shared.
You got White Clef on here?
Oh, we got a few people. Anika Noni Rose. We got Dr. Steve Perry. You know, so we got some heavy
I
hitters.
love
But
this.
it's an amazing piece to be able to share with not just adults but young people,
Yes.
college
Yes.
kids. And with this, I said, you can sometimes figure out how to inspire adults, but the best way to get them is to start from the top. And so I came out with Yes,
Yeah.
You Can for children.
For children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have children of your own?
I have two amazing kids.
They must be amazing because they have an amazing dad.
I appreciate that.
I'm sure that you empower them to be the best men that they can be.
And woman.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have any tips on how to be successful that you've kind of come across in your growth?
There are plenty of tips, but I think the most important
Yeah.
one that I could share today for those who are watching, I think one of the key things that anyone could do when you're trying to pursue a goal or a dream is execution is everything. I tell people, you can have the greatest idea. You can sit here and say, all right, D, I have this great idea. This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to map it out. But you never know how that's going to work out until you put it in a real life situation and how you execute. Because everyone come up with $1 million idea every day.
Yeah.
But those who execute it are the ones who stay on top, continue to strive, and become successful because they weren't afraid, it goes that fear again, to push the button, to make the jump, to execute, to do things that people won't do, right? So execution in anything that you're doing, I feel like is super important, and surround yourself with like-minded people. One of my favorite quotes, if you hang with 9 broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one. So if you hang with
So
9
true.
upperly mobile, positive, motivated individuals, you never want to be the odd woman or man out.
That's why they say whoever you hang around with is kind of who you are.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
Show me who your friends are. I can tell you how successful you're going to become.
And you say that with such like.
No, if you hang with
It's
with
true.
losers,
No, it's very true.
you're a loser. If you hang with winners, it's an opportunity that you have to, it's nothing personal, but I don't see a lot of people. I don't see you trying to convince 9 other people to become positive. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
So
from the music business, you went into writing and motivational speaker. You speak very well.
thank you.
Like you need to be like pastor somewhere. Do you do
Oh,
pastor work?
I don't do pastor work, but I've been at funerals. I've spoken at weddings.
Yeah.
So
You have that vibe to you.
that's what I've been told. And who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what's in store for me? I won't block my blessings. I don't know. I know the word enough. I can't sit here and spit, verse by verse or scripture by scripture. But I know some scripture just based on how I was brought up in my household with my two grandmothers. It was a plethora of different things. It was Jehovah's Witness. It was Baptist. It was Episcopalian. So. I'm a spiritual person, and I do believe in a higher being and the Most High, so that's how I walk.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that into your resume of work, because we need a lot of motivation and someone that gives us confidence, that knows the business so well, too.
Right.
Fun question. Who has been your favorite interviewee?
Who's
sticks
been my
out?
favorite interviewee?
Yeah.
Wow,
You have so many.
There's so many, only because my approach to interviewing people has been a little different. Like they are celebrities, but I never get into the gossip piece of it. I get into the real life situations. Like,
Definitely.
what did you do to get here?
Yeah.
How do you maintain and sustain what you're doing?
Content, baby.
If it's an actor, how do you still have to audition? Do you get writer's block if you're a recording artist? Like, those are the real questions. So I would have to say, out of all of them, I think most recently, Remy Ma has probably been my favorite interview. Only because there was a compliment from the both of us on how she conducted the interview, the questions that were asked, the interaction that we had, and just magic took place. Yeah. It was an amazing interview.
Sometimes you just have a vibe.
It was amazing.
Undeniable.
So I'd have to say, I think Remy Ma is probably my favorite to this point. Actually, it's a toss-up between that and Styles P. So that and that one was an amazing interview. So I mean, if you haven't seen it,
check it out. Check it out. A plug.
The Winner Circle on YouTube. So
The Winner Circle. How did you get involved with This Is 50? 50 seems to be the talk of the town lately. Yeah. I mean, he's always been amazing.
People get him confused. He's a great businessman, great marketer.
Absolutely.
Never be misguided by...
And such charisma, by the way.
Oh,
so,
definitely. Yeah. He could turn it on and off at any given point in time. But don't get wrapped up in when he's trying to be petty or he's trying to be competitive. Like that is the art of war at its best. That is the 48 laws of power at its best. And he is the best to do it. Yeah. And it's no different than the leader of the free world, number 45, doing what he's doing and diverting the attention. It's the same thing 50 does. But he has fun. It's a sport for him. And we've worked together on Get Rich or Die Trying, also the Curtis album. And, one day they were looking for a motivational speaker. I tried to connect them. That motivational speaker didn't connect with them. I was like, all right, well, if you need somebody, I got it. And we connected, and that person didn't realize that I had a relationship with the people in the office. And I went in there and said, what's up? And they were like, this is the guy we were talking about. We want him to do something.
It's all about who you know, how well you know them.
And who knows you. Yeah. And if you can deliver, if you can execute. So when I got there, the idea was, listen, how about we do something different from what you guys have done? Do something inspirational, inspire people. And I started off doing the videos myself. And then after a while, I was like, well, let me just interview people to share their stories. And it kind of took off. And they're like, all right, you ain't got to, no disrespect, don't do any more interviews. Don't do any more videos. Like, just keep interviewing celebrities. And that's what I did.
So that was kind of your calling.
That's cool. And I love it. I love it.
So basically, you've been in all areas of the business.
Oh, yeah. I had a documentary on Fuse. I had 2 shows on,
I have to watch
Fuse
that.
TV.
I missed out on that.
Those are dope. The docu-tape and Behind the Unsigned. And this is before all these reality shows were coming, and we were getting a lot of pushback on recording in studios and in restaurants. And now, if you watch any Love and Hip Hop or Housewives or whatever,
what are you feeling about reality shows now that you bring it up, especially when it has to do with the business, Love and Hip Hop or Jermaine Dupri's competition show?
I think it's cool, but been there, done that. We were the first to do it.
Okay.
And we did it without any celebrities, and we're the top 2 and top 3 shows on Fuse. So I can't say I'm impressed. I'm not impressed. I think it's cool for whoever wants to follow it, but I think that we need more positive images on television for men and for women in those roles, especially people of color. Yeah. Because our young people are watching. Yeah. They're taking note and they're trying to emulate, and we don't want to send them the wrong messages.
Do we have any personal growth tips? I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but just trying to get everything in.
We could jump. I think personal growth, as we talked about, your circle,
Yeah.
figuring out who is in your circle, how people move, how you can learn from someone. I think the best personal growth is to really go out every day and try to meet somebody new. Get out of your comfort zone. Rub elbows. That is how you become the conduit. That's how you become the common denominator. You become a resource, and you can become a blessing to someone else, all because you can say, hey, you know what? You need a producer for your show, or you need another whatever. Like, I got that. I got 5 of those here. I got 5 of these. And just being a blessing to somebody else that you may not see the monetary value in it, but the human capital is so important.
Any money tips?
Money tips, listen, save more than you spend.
Oh, I like that.
It's that simple.
Do you have any tips on how to make dreams and goals come to life with nothing? Like starting like with nothing?
Yeah,
Because, a lot of people have these dreams and goals, but maybe they may not have the money or the
Right.
resources
Financial
or the
backing,
people around
connection.
them.
It
Yeah.
goes back to the networking piece. Go out every day. Find out
networking.
where the events are.
Yes.
All right? That's the only way to do it. And become a brand. Develop something that people want to buy into. Even if it's not from a monetary level, just say, hey, I will tune in and watch this YouTube video. I'll tune in and watch you on Instagram or Facebook. Have a product that people love. But
And that's just being creative, because we hear that a lot, but there's still a missing link. Like how?
I don't think
Everybody's doing
I don't
everything.
think it's just creative. I think for me, it's finding what you love, and you will find out that there are other people that love exactly what you love. Hot Chocolate Soul, an event that I do in Hartford, Connecticut, music, comedy, and poetry. I created it because we didn't have a platform as room service. We had to keep going to the Apollo Theater every week to get discovered.
Interesting.
So I found out everybody else likes music, comedy, and poetry at a live band.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I did my celebration of life to raise money for AIDS and breast cancer on my birthday weekend in November. And I realized a lot of people were affected with AIDS and breast cancer. A lot of people want to know intervention and prevention. 100 women of color, 100 men of color. The
Huge
Yes books.
organization.
So it's saying that people want to celebrate women of color. They want to celebrate men of color. They want to celebrate people in their communities
Right.
doing great things and uplifting the community. So when I created it, I realized there are a whole subset of people that want to do the same thing. So if you have something that you love, create something, create a platform to push it out there, to market and promote it, and execute it to the best of your ability, like your life depended on it, and you will find success.
How are you feeling about today's music? Do they need to get in line? Is that your get in line of the
They need to get in
week?
2 lines.
Who are we listening to? And how do you feel about today's music?
I don't have a problem with all of the music, right, that we're listening today, and I don't listen to all of it. And it was some music that I was creating that we weren't really into. There's music that was around us that, you're not gonna like everything.
Right.
I just want the creative piece to come back where we know who the artist is, and it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like one long record on the radio.
Right.
When you talk about 90s hip hop and R&B, you know who Busta Rhymes is, as opposed to Jay-Z, as opposed to DMX, as opposed to EPMD, Nice and Smooth, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But now you put the record on the radio and it sounds like the same artist,
Yeah.
and sometimes it sounds like the same beat,
Yeah.
which is interesting because back in the day we prided ourselves on not being a biter, right? Not biting someone's style.
Yes, you're
but
talking
now
my language.
it's, if you sound like Drake, then you should be like,
Everybody's
no,
following each other
we
instead of
can't-
being authentic.
We can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
We have to teach these artists, find your own voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find what it is that makes you unique in what you're doing.
Yeah.
We listen to Redman because Redman was Redman.
Man, he was
He wasn't
crazy.
Guru,
Right.
Right?
Right.
and Guru wasn't Run DMC.
Right.
Right. And the list goes on and on.
Right.
But now it's okay. Now everybody wants to sound like Lil Wayne.
redundant, yeah.
To the point now everybody got Little in their name. Right. So we have to do a little bit better by educating these artists, and it starts with artist development, which we don't have anymore. So we have to kind of get back to artist development 101 and kind of teaching these artists what it means to be an artist in a brand.
Because a lot of our artists that do have contacts are being killed off.
Yeah, and
You know?
that's a whole other story. That's another show for another time.
Well, we can save it till then, I guess. Let our viewers know where they can find you, the books, where they can follow you.
Oh, please, let's
So much.
just go right to IamJuneArcher.com. Pick one up for a kid that you know and love, or pick one up for your own kid, and get this one for yourself. And then working on the third book is called After You Say Yes.
Oh.
So super excited about that. But IamJuneArcher.com, and on social media at June Archer on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. I promise you'll be inspired every day that you happen to take a look. And I always welcome comments and things. So
you have a very good feed. It's very inspirational and motivating. And I take it personal because I know that you've gone through it all. And you have many areas that you.
I haven't gone. I don't know if I've gone through everything, but I've gone through a lot. You know? And I think sharing these things is what makes the journey even better, right? Because you can help other people by being as transparent as you can. That you may help, or you may even save somebody's life.
Definitely. Thank you so much, June, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I hope to have you again. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Please support the movement. I love June Archer. He's phenomenal. I love his resume and everything he has to offer. Please get these books. I think they're very important. And yes, it starts with the children. It starts with the foundation. If we don't supply our kids with this from 4 to 9, look at that.
You gotta get them early.
You gotta get them early because schools are not doing it.
You got bullying. You have a ton of things that are going on.
Kids are doing suicide at the age of 7. I didn't even know about suicide at the age of 7.
We have to do better, and this is the way to do better by
I
putting
love
them in
it.
the frame of mind that they need.
I love it. Go get it. Thank you for tuning in to the Essence Show. We'll see you next week. Please follow me on Instagram. I'm MissTheEssence1. Stay tuned. We have a lot coming in store for you. Happy GetInLine Wednesday. Mwah. Good night.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
DJ First Class, a young kid growing up in the South Bronx who had an ear for music. He was influenced by such DJs as Grandmaster Flash, Red Alert, Funkmaster Flex, and DJ AM. At the age of 15, with his savings, he put together a mobile DJ set. He started doing house parties, sweet 16s, and weddings. He started to build up a great reputation from these parties at the age of 17. He was hired for his first major gig at a club in the Bronx called The Riddler. His skills on the turntable and his program of playing the best music to keep the dance floor moving made him one of the most sought-after DJs in the Bronx nightclub scene. He also possessed the talent to control a crowd vocally as a crowd motivator. As one of the co-founders of the Club Killers, one of the most popular DJ crews in New York City, he was taking his DJ popularity to a new level. He has played in every major club or venue in the Bronx. Clubs such as Don Coqui, Coconuts, Mi Gente, Side Streets, Evo Lounge, Club 718, Mimosa, and Split Rock. In the mid-2000s, he formed a relationship with Fever Records and was showcased at some of the biggest events in New York, such as Resorts Casino, Copacabana, Lehman Theater, and Salsa Fuego. With his love for his community, he donated his DJ skills to many charity events, one of them being the Eric Roman Memorial Foundation. First Class was a father of 3, grandfather, and a loving son. He has left us at a young age of only 42, but his memory and love of music will never leave us at all.
Get in line.